Hi and welcome to the Dice Cup. I'm Steve and today I'm going to show you how to play a game called Evolution, a game taking from 2 to 6 players and takes about an hour. Evolution is a game where you're trying to adapt species, survive in an ecosystem. You've got to make sure you can always gather enough food to feed your species and watch out for carnivores, unless you're a carnivore yourself, and then you can start eating other people. Let me show you how to play, but to do that I'm just going to tidy up a few of these things. Each player, this is set up for a 3-player game. Each person starts with one species there. This is a nice start player token in the form of some sort of dinosaur, and each player is going to get a bag and a player aid. The player aid is quite well made. It tells you how to play, what the order of things are, and it gives you a brief rundown of all the different cards there are in the game, as well as some Latin names to name your animals should you want to get into the theme of things. So I'm just going to move these out of the way and show you how the game is played. So I've cleared some of the clutter out of the way so you can see what's going on, and in a round of Evolution plays like this. At the start of the round everyone's going to be dealt some cards, and the cards are how you do actions, how you do things throughout the game, and you're going to be dealt 3 cards each round plus 1 per species you have. Everyone starts with 1 species represented by these little boards here, and so everyone's going to start the game with 4 cards. The game will end when the stack of cards runs out. So on the turn the cards run out will be the last turn of the game. So you have about 8 turns depending on how many players you have in the game. As soon as you get dealt your cards, you may look at them, and each card has a trait on it. So for example, I've got a warning call, I've got a some horns I can add to my animal, and so on. So the first 4 cards I have give me different traits, but the majority of the time I'm not going to be playing for them from the traits, I'm going to be playing them for other things. The first thing you have to do is discard one of your cards into the food bank, and if you see at the bottom corner of the cards is the food cost listed down here. So 3, 3, -2 and 3. Okay, what I would do is pick one of the cards, maybe one of the ones I don't want, and I would discard it to the food bank. Everyone else would do the same with one of their cards, and then once we finish doing things with our cards we will reveal that, and that will give us the food we're going to play with for this round. So I've just zoomed in so you can see what's going on with the species board here, and the 3 remaining cards I have once I've put one to the food bank. I have horns, intelligence and warning call, but generally I'm not going to be discarding the cards for their trait. I'm going to be discarding the cards to do other things. I'm allowed to do 4 things with the cards on my turn. The first thing I can do is to take one card, any card I don't want, and discard it, and either increase the body size of my current species or the population of my current species, and every time I increase it I need 1 card to do so. So I could discard 2 cards and increase the body size twice. I could discard 2 cards and increase the population twice, or I could discard 2 cards to do 1 of each. Let's say I just discard 1 card and I make my animal that bit bigger. So I'm going to discard intelligence to make my animal 1 bit bigger. So they're the first 2 things you can do by discarding cards. The third thing you can do by discarding a card is to get a new species. So let's say if I discarded this warning call card, I would get a new species, and every new species I get would start off with a body size and a population of 1. I now have 2 species, which means in future turns I'm going to be dealt more cards, which is always an advantage. The last thing I can do on my turn, rather than increasing the sizes and populations of cards and getting new species, is to play the trait as a trait. So I might decide I want to give horns to this animal here, so this species here. What I would do, I would play it face down, and when everyone has played their cards, you'd then reveal this, and you reveal that this animal, whatever this animal is, has horns. And horns means if a carnivore attacks this animal, the carnivore has to reduce its population by 1 as it attacks me. So that might make carnivores less likely to attack this particular species. The advantage with Evolution is that everyone's playing their cards simultaneously, so you've not got much downtime in that point. And when people come to reveal their cards, they're doing that simultaneously too. So let's say that's my first turn. I now have 2 species, 1 with some horns, and I've increased the body size of my original species to 2. I'll show you what everyone else has done, and we'll have a look at how feeding works. So once everyone's played, the board might look something like this. This particular player has increased population body size by 1, and this player has played a hard shell. This player here has increased body size by 2 and has played a carnivore card. There's always someone who does that. The carnivore card means something slightly different to do with the feeding phrase, and I'll show you in a sec. And we've played horns, so it means this carnivore, if it attacks us, will start to hurt itself too. Once everyone's revealed what they've got, you then reveal the food, how much food there is in the food bank. So if you reveal the 3 cards that were played earlier and add up the numbers in the bottom of the food bank, you've got 3, which we played, 6 and a 1. So in total there's going to be 10 food in the food bank, and you place 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 items of food there. That is all the food that is available this round, but any food that isn't taken out of these food tokens here will stay there for rounds after. So the first round often it's not all taken, but in later rounds it's going to become quite scarce. Starting with the start player, you then go round in clockwise order, starting to feed your species. So the starting player here might decide, I'm going to feed this species here, and it would take 1 food out of the food bank and put it there. This species is now considered fed because it has a population of 1 and it has got 1 food. If this had a population of 2 or 3, it would need 2 or 3 food. The next person here, the person who played the hard shell, would take a food, and it comes to the carnivore. Now, if you're not a carnivore, you're a herbivore, and you'll be eating food from the food bank. If you're a carnivore, and this person's played the carnivore card, you're allowed to eat other people's species. To eat other people's species, you need to have a body size greater than theirs, okay, without any other cards that do benefits. So this carnivore here has a body size of 3, which means it's bigger than this one, and this one. So in theory, this carnivore could eat from all 3. However, we've played horns. If the carnivore eats us with the horns, it will hurt itself. It would reduce our population. It would reduce our population by 1, killing us, because we've only got a population of 1, but it would also reduce their own population by 1, killing themselves. So the carnivore's not going to eat this species. The carnivore can't eat this species either, because this species has played a hard shell. The hard shell adds 3 to the body size when it's determining carnivore attacks. So the body size is 2 plus 3. This species has a body size of 5 because it has a hard shell. So the carnivore can't eat this one either. So what the carnivore is going to do, the carnivore is going to eat the third species, our second species that we played. It's going to die, and the carnivore would eat that. It would take a food token from not from the food bank, from the supply, and if you can see, each food token is double-sided. There it looks like someone's leg, there it looks like some plant food. So the carnivore, again thematically, will put it that way round, although it doesn't actually matter, and the carnivore is now considered fed because it's a population of 1. We keep going back round until everyone's fed. However, this species here was killed. This species here had a body size of 1, sorry, population of 1. The carnivore has eaten it, it would reduce its population size, and because it had started with only 1, it is now dead. So this species is dead. However, the food that species had stays there, as this player actually did collect that food. You keep going around feeding, so this person will take this species would take 1 food, this species would take 1 food, the carnivore's fed, this one's now fed, and this one's now fed, because this one had a population of 2, it needed 2 food. Once everyone's fed, the players, with these nifty little bags they've got here, would put all the food they've collected that turn into the bag. So this person here has collected 2 bits of food, it would put it in a bag. This person's collected 1 bit of food, and this person has collected 2 bits, and you have to include the bit that was collected, but however that species is now dead. 2 bits there. Anyone who doesn't feed at the end of a round reduces its population to the level of the food it had. So for example, say we had a population of 4, but we only got in that particular round 2 food, either because all the other food was taken, or we're carnivore and we ran out of things to eat, or whatever the case may be. You'd then reduce your population to the level of food you've got and eat the food. Which means that if you didn't have any food for a particular animal, regardless of what type of animal that is, your species would die. In future rounds, you're going to play the same way. You're going to get dealt 3 cards plus 1 per species, but you now know some of the species in play. You know there's a species over here that's tough to eat for a carnivore. You know there's a carnivore in play, and this species has horns, so if the carnivore eats them, the carnivore will start to lose some of its population. So in the next round, the carnivore realises that it's going to need to increase its population or its body size to either population to attack this one or body size to attack this one, or it's going to play a trait which negates some of these. This person here realises if they bring out a new defenceless species, as is this person, the carnivore's just going to eat them. So if you start to bring out new species now when there's a carnivore in play, you need to give them traits which will allow them to survive at least a round or so. You play that way until the deck runs out. Once the deck runs out, you play one more turn, you'd finish that turn, and then you'd score. You score for 3 things. The biggest thing you score for is the food you've taken during the game. The more food you eat, the more points you get. You get 1 point per food. You also get 1 point per population you have left at the end. So every species that has population, you'd add up your population of all your species up at the end. So this person's got 2 at the moment, this person's got 2 at the moment, the way it stands, and the carnivore's got 1. You'd add those points to your food, and the final thing you'd add are traits. Every trait you've played gets you a point. You'd add all those things up, and the person who's managed to adapt their species the best and collect the most food throughout the game will be the winner. So I'll just show you some of the other cards in play. I won't show them all, but I'll show you some so you can see how flexible and dynamic it can be and how every round can change the game. So burrowing means as soon as you've completely fed, you burrow underground and you can't be eaten. So if you manage to feed early and get completely fed, this protects you from carnivores. Foraging speeds up what you can eat. So every time you eat at least 1 food with this species, you get another food. Again, it has to be from the watering hole of the food bank, as I've called it. Pack hunting allows carnivores smaller than their prey to actually attack them. So pack hunting would add its body size and its population together and allow that would have to be bigger than their body size of their prey, and they can now eat them. Warning call means that if you have 2 species or 3 species, and warning call will protect the species either side of you from being attacked by carnivores. So the carnivore can attack the species with warning call, but it can't attack the 2 either side of them. Long neck allows you, as soon as the food is revealed, to immediately take 1 food from the food bank. Okay, not from the watering hole, from the food bank, which is the supply. This means you can, with long neck, you can eat when the food is sparse still, and you eat straight away. Cooperation means whenever the species takes food, the species to the right of it also takes food. It's a bit like warning call, and it's helping species in relation to each other. Again, climbing works in such a way that if you have climbing, a carnivore cannot eat you unless it also has climbing. So if you want to protect yourself from a carnivore instantly, climbing might be the way to go. Symbiosis means that if the species to the right is larger than this one can't be attacked. So it's like, if you can see the picture, some little animals riding on the big one, you'd have to attack the big animal first in order to be able to attack the little ones. So again, this might be a way to protect any new species you get from being eaten by carnivores. That is the game Evolution. It takes about an hour, it's quite fun, it's quite simultaneous, and it's not slowed down by people thinking when it's their turn, because everyone's acting at the same time. It's quite dynamic in that every round's different, so you can have a carnivore that can eat lots of things, and then the very next round you find that it can't eat anything because one person's played climbing, one person's played burrowing, one person's played hard shell, and now all of a sudden your carnivore starves and goes extinct. So that's how you play Evolution, a fun, 1 hour filled, ever-changing game where you're just trying to survive in a changing ecosystem. I've been Steve from the Dice Cup. Thank you very much.